We were really fortunate to have Father Joe Daoust with us for the last 6 years.
He was a very simple man. He had a great capacity to listen.
Made us feel at ease whenever we shared, and
Very approachable, open to listen to the people, and very patient.
He was open also to different cultures.
thank you, Joe. It was a great experience to be with you.
Te agradezco de corazón ser el delegado de mi formación teológica en Roma. Un abrazo como amigo en el Señor.
Te agradeço de coração, Padre Daoust, por este tempo de serviço e colaboração, e desejo sempre que Deus te acompanhe e o Espírito Santo te ilumine na sua nova missão. Muito obrigado.
Well, I just finished 6 years as the Delegate of Father General for the Roman Houses. The Roman Houses are the works that the Society of Jesus does that have been given to us to do by the popes over the centuries. Starting with the Gregorian University back in the time of St. Ignatius through, in the last 100 years or so, things like the Biblical Institute, the Pontifical Oriental Institute, Vatican Radio, the Vatican Observatory, Astronomical Observatory, our House in the Holy Land. So it's a wide variety of works, but they're the responsibility of the Universal Society, of everybody all over the world, all the Jesuit provinces. And the reason that they're kind of special for us Jesuits is because our vow of obedience to the Pope, our fourth vow, regarding mission, when the Pope asks us to do something, we're supposed to drop everything and do it. Well, hopefully we don't drop these things, but we do them. And we come from all over the world to do them, from all the different provinces. And ultimately, Father General, therefore, is responsible for them to the Pope, to the Holy See. But he has a delegate because he has other things to do, and that's the job I did. It's basically like running a province, if you want, of 400 Jesuits in about 10 institutions. But it's not like a province in that you have to draw people from all over the world, Jesuits from all over the world, because these institutions serve the universal church, the church all over the world. We have students in the educational institutions like the Gregorian, the Biblicum, and the Orientale that come from about 120 countries. The Jesuits who serve in those institutions come from over 70 countries. Among the students, former students of these institutions are about 20%, a fifth of the world's bishops who are in office. And about 40% of the College of Cardinals were once students in one of those institutions. Or something like Vatican Radio certainly reaches in 40 different languages all over the world. The Vatican Observatory is the Church's effort to really be in a field of science that was started back just after Ignatius, but has continued. A really first-class scientific research institution that is very well respected by astronomers around the world. These institutions then are, if I ran through the whole list of them, it would be 3 educational institutions: the Pontifical Gregorian University, the Pontifical Oriental Institute, and the Pontifical Biblical Institute. But there's also a center for art and spirituality that does mosaics, creates mosaics that are in the Papal Chapel, but in churches now in South America, North America, all over Europe. It's an attempt to make what we do in theology really something present, called the Aletti Center. There are 2 large communities of young Jesuits who attend the institutions. The very small minority of the students in the institutions, but at the Collegio del Gesù, the International College of the Gesù, we have about 50 young Jesuits preparing for priesthood, coming from all over the world, studying at the Gregorian University and the Oriental Institute. at the Bellarmino College, the College of San Roberto Bellarmino. We have about 80 young Jesuits, usually priests or brothers who are a little further along in formation, doing advanced degrees in the institutions here in Rome. They're kind of a precious resource because they go back all over the world and have a unique vision of kind of the universality of the Church. Not so much because we give it to them, but their fellow students give it to them, the ones they're in the class with, that come from all over, and will go back all over the world. So as delegate of these, for Father General for these institutions, my job was to be the major superior of the Jesuits who work in them, which means doing what a provincial does with Jesuits always who are on mission anywhere in a province. These happen to all be here in Rome. And, but it's also to be the delegate of Father General with regard to his governing of these institutions. The Superior General is the Vice Chancellor of all these institutions, and again, he has other things to do than figure out whether a professor should be appointed by with permission of the Holy See or not, and so I process those kinds of things as his delegate. These are the kinds of things that kept me busy in these 6 years in Rome. And when I came, I was really unaware, even though I'd been in the society for a good long time, of how important these institutions are to the global Church. I think the thing that's most meaningful in the job that I've done, to me certainly, is to see how much they can affect, not so much just because of the Jesuits who are there, but the students who are there, or the scientists, or the other people who interact with them, giving the Church here in Rome. Certainly this is the center or the heart of the Roman Catholic Church, but it's so that it's a thinking and feeling heart. Our people are very involved in being consultors to different Vatican congregations, different Vatican councils. They're very involved in helping different Vatican officials to communicate or to write documents or to handle issues, ranging all the way from how to handle sexual abuse or something as serious as that, to how to write an encyclical or communicate the gospel in some other kind of way. In all these ways, then, these institutions, the Jesuits in them, and the institutions themselves, there are many people besides Jesuits in them, serve as as kind of a special core at the heart of the Church, affecting the local churches all over the world because of the people who come here to receive either the education or to cooperate in running the institutions and then go back to the various parts of the world. With a sense of how rich and how deep the faith is in so many different cultures, each of them kind of able to create a special vision, a special face of Christ that is somewhat different from the others. And the knowing and coming in contact with all of those just enriches what faith is, I think, for people. It's also been a great privilege to be able to work closely with Father General and the General Council here, not only with regard to these houses, but seeing kind of the issues of the society around the world that come into the General Council that Father General has to deal with. It's a very precious sense of what's happening in the society in 6 continents, down at the grassroots level sometimes, or at the more province-wide or country-wide level, all the way to what's happening here in Rome. So it's been a real privilege to have this position, this viewpoint from the center of the Church and of the society, but very much focused on all the way out to the margins all over the world. It's especially been a privilege to come to know young Jesuits and senior Jesuits from all different parts of the world who all share one common culture, the Ignatian vision that we all have as Jesuits, but rooted in so many different cultures and languages and experiences, ranging from Eastern Europe, still in many ways recovering from the fall of communism and coming forward in the church in freedom, to parts of the world where the church is not free or is suffering, things like the Middle East or in places that are still communist in Asia, to where the church is really suffering because of the dense poverty and sometimes terrible wars in Africa, the Middle East, where the church is vibrant but faces a lot of challenges, certainly in the Americas and the Western Hemisphere. All of that comes in here, and somehow I can feel it and touch it, along with the other members of the General Council, but especially I think through the people who come here for meetings, who come here to teach, who come here to study, and then they bring with them a sense of the whole body of Christ that is very touching.
So what will be a message you would like to give with regard to the future of the Roman houses and those who are in there being formed?
The Roman houses and works, these institutions, I think, are increasingly going to be serving in the parts of the world that are not in what we call the West, North America and Europe. More and more the students are coming from Africa, Asia, Latin America. It's where the church is growing the most, the worldwide church, and also the Society of Jesus. More and more then these works and institutions have to reflect that reality and serve that reality. So I think that certainly that there's much that's precious and good that has come from Europe or from North America. The contributions now of the younger continents, or sometimes the older continents like Asia, are becoming more and more important for the church and therefore for the Society of Jesus. And those issues and those views and those cultures, those gifts are becoming more and more present in the Roman houses, and I hope we can respond by serving them, bringing more Jesuits from those parts of the world here to Rome to be able to serve the church in that way.
Now, I'd like to know, Pope Francis was elected during your time here. Now, how that has some impact on you?
The presence of Pope Francis, I think, really symbolizes and makes very present what I just talked about of a part of the church that, in a sense, here in Europe or maybe in the United States, we kind of think of, well, it's out there on the margins somewhere, and then all of a sudden it's here at the center. And what a tremendous gift of life and joy and seriousness and preaching of the gospel in a new way that is able to touch people around the world incredibly. To see that was, it's been a great joy. He talks about the joy of the gospel. I think he's brought the joy of the gospel in many ways to a part of the church, if you want, that very much was in need of it, Rome. Especially, I think, the Vatican and those who serve the church through that kind of worldwide focus. It's just, I don't know, it's like a tremendous shot in the arm that God has given us. A shot in the arm sounds too bad. It's a joyful gift, a wonderful gift. But I think it's also raised the issues of where our eyes should be. He talks about the gospel should be preached first to the poor, first at the margins. Not because they're the neediest, also because they're the neediest, but it's also where we'll most find Christ. and his being able to redirect us, if you want. Not that we weren't there in some way before, certainly in the Society of Jesus for the last 50 years now, that's really been an attempt to help focus to go where the need is the greatest in the world. But he's showing us the way, and not only us, but showing the church, the whole church, the way. And it's a joy to be in company with him on that journey.
Thank you, Father Joe. It has been a privilege to be with you here in Rome and also experience especially your sensitivity and your love and your affection. I could see that flowing from you for every individual member of the community you meet, the gentleness with which you dealt with all of us. I think it will ever be remembered, and we are ever grateful to you for your presence and also for your gift. Hope you will continue to serve the Lord with all these talents. Thank you very much.
Thank you.